The hardest days tell you who you are. Um, but pretty much what that means is that um, you're never going to find out who you are or what you're made of until you've gone through the hardest days of your life. And so far, I've gone through a couple of difficult periods. Nothing that has, you know, really knocked me down in any crazy way, but it kind of taught me a little bit of what I'm made of and a little bit of what I want out of myself. And this first period was wrestling. Um, Wrestling taught me a lot, especially my first season, being on varsity the whole year. Never wrestled before in my entire life. Um, going from no wrestling to wrestling at like almost the highest level. Kind of taught me a lot about my resiliency and about my determination and about what I wanted out of myself um, in those areas. Um, and it taught me the importance of doing something difficult. It made me strong mentally because, day after day, tournament after tournament, I was getting beat hard. My record was horrible. This last season, I was getting the crap beat out of me. I went through more matches than a lot of people, than the majority of the people on that team, and I lost almost every single one of them. I have, and I'm a little bit ashamed to admit this, but I'm not. I have the worst record in my school because it was a first year program, um, and but it was good because they kind of taught me what I was made of. They taught me that I could go through really difficult things and that I could actually um, like that I was made of that, which I never knew. I never really thought of being able to do something that difficult or that embarrassing as stepping on a mat and getting the crap beat out of you. I never thought I was capable of that, and I taught myself that I was. And it gave me a lot of time to reflect on who I was and um, pretty much what I was made of. And that's kind of my point is that um, the things the things that you learn about yourself when you're going through hard times, when you're down, when you're out, and when you're struggling is actually insane. It's the most growth you'll ever do in your entire life is choosing something extremely hard and completing it. And it like I said, it teaches you who you are. So like if you're in those moments and you start to blame others and you start to blame everything but yourself, like I might have been in the past like few months, then you learn how much of a sissy you are, kind of, and how much you want to break that. And then if you do the exact opposite and you literally just look inward like I did in wrestling, and but it doesn't matter. You look inward like I did with wrestling, and discover that piece of yourself that's like, no, it's nobody's fault except for mine. That guy wasn't stronger. Um, the other guy didn't have better technique. Um, my coach didn't do anything wrong. The ref didn't do anything wrong. It was me. I was weaker. I was less skilled, and I was pulling off moves I shouldn't have. Right? It's when you look inward that way that you kind of learn what you're made of. And as soon as you get that experience of like, oh, well, when I encounter something tough, I know what happens. Um, Half of the battle of starting something new is the fear of the unknown. And once you've gone through those moments where you're in the worst of your life, well, suppose that. Once you've gone through those moments where you're in the worst of your life, at least up to a point, because obviously there's gonna be worse worse days to come than wrestling or whatever I've gone through. And but at least you know that you're ready for it. At least you know that you're at least you kind of know what your response is going to be and you're familiar with it. So that once you're there, all you have to focus on is getting out. And it's not just about learning how it's not just about learning how you think. It's not just about learning how you'll react. It's about learning, or it's about just getting out, and it's about getting through it at that point. And I think that's why it's so important for people to go through something tough in their life, because, like I said, it teaches you who you are. You learn so much about yourself when you're so to speak in the trenches. It's that mantra all over the internet where it's like you have to do something hard, um, and you have to do something difficult to to become the person you're supposed to be. Um, and that's why people who've had easy lives are so unfulfilled because they don't know who they are. They're so lost in all that because the only way to learn, the only way to grow, is by doing hard things. Is by challenging yourself. Is by getting out of your comfort growth, progressive overload, pretty much in life. And um, that's the magic of hard times is it teaches you who you are. It teaches you who you want to be. Especially teaches you who you want to be because if you end up reacting in a way that you don't like, then you can say, well, now I want to change it. Uh, and you can build on that. You can build on that reaction. You can say, well, this isn't the person I want to be. Um, and it kind of teaches you who you want to become in the long run. And to that point, um, the hard days are, like I said, where you'll experience the most growth you possibly can. And you should relish them. You should be in those days, literally striving to be in those days, because that's where you're going to get better mentally, physically, emotionally. You become more emotionally resilient the more toughness you've been through. Because think about it, if you've been through, um, if you've been through 3 car accidents in a year, I've never done that. That's just an example. Then like someone cutting you off in traffic is going to be the least of your worries. At least they didn't kill you, right? Like, at least they didn't hit you. In that respect. And then sometimes there's the opposite reaction where you've been through 3 car wrecks in a year, and someone cutting you off drives you insane because you're like, you could have hit me. Um, and obviously, one of those reactions is better because it allows you to be more peaceful with the same event. Um, so, like I said, it's all about learning. It's about learning who you want to be. Um, if you want to be the emotionally reactive, like, oh my gosh, you could have hit me, and that's your prerogative. But if you really, really want to be in a healthy area, it's about seeing who you are at your deepest core, because that's what hard days will teach you, is it who you actually are. Because it's easy to put on a face when things are easy. It's easy to say I'm this and I'm that when it's easy. But when it's hard, that's when you come out. That's when you're like, that's when who you actually are mentally comes out. And it's where you can finally have that internal battle. It's where you can finally talk to yourself and say, hey, this isn't how it's supposed to be. Um, and that's when you can challenge yourself to become better, is when you actually really know who you are. Sometimes you can feel like you're putting on some sort of show. You can feel like you're putting on a mask. And if you are, once you go through that one bad day, it's gone. Once you go through that bad week, that bad month, or that bad year, it's gone. You can change yourself. That's when you can really dig deep and you can find out like what you don't like about yourself. That's when you can go in and analyze every little bit about yourself. Is when you do have that bad week, that bad month, or that bad year. And when you really um, when you really get in those moments and you really like you're not even focused on Like I think the best mindset to have is not like, oh, this moment is so bad and this is why it sucks. Um, um, like it's not about, oh, why does this suck and why is it horrible for me? It's about um what can this teach me, you know? Um and how can I grow because of it? Um and it's like I said, it's about taking stock of who you actually are and what what you can become. What was I saying? Um, so yeah, it basically yeah. So the best mindset to have is probably it's not why does this all suck and why is this such a bad thing for me? It's probably the like what can I learn from this and what extra layer of my like of myself am I stripping back to become who I want to be. And you take a little bit of that ideal person with you from each hard day, from each hard week, and from each hard year. You take a little bit of that person with you, and you add it to yourself pretty much. And if you do that, then eventually you'll find that you become the ideal person. And a lot of times, your ideal person is the person that's going through a lot of hard and going through a lot of hard times um, because that's where the ideal person is. And if you're not comfortable with going through hard times, and if you're not comfortable being uncomfortable, you're never going to grow, and you're never going to be better. And it's about um, it's about realizing you don't have it all together. That's what hard days kind of show you is that you like you might have this long stretch of time of month like a few months or a few weeks where you're just like hell yeah I've got it down. And then that one day, that one week, one month, whatever, it kind of breaks it down that idea where it's like, well, you don't have it. And a lot of times it's not in the area that you thought you had it together. It teaches you that. It teaches you a whole different area of life you didn't even know you didn't have together. You know, it's like recently, I thought I had it all together in December, and then what January through March taught me was that I don't have it all together, not financially, not mentally. Um, and it was a really good lesson learned because it got me back into doing what I love, which is self improvement. And that's also what it'll teach you is what you really love to do. Because those hard days, what you spend thinking about during those times, what your mind is just constantly focused on getting back. That's what you want. That's what you love. Um, and that's what you need almost to an extent. Um, so yeah, pretty much. I've gotta edit this video a little bit because my dickhead brother shouting some stuff I can't really put on YouTube. So um, um, most important part is that I think if you can take away anything, it's that the hard days strip back your personality, shows you how you respond to pain, shows you how you respond to difficult times, and it shows you how you want to start responding at difficult times. And um, hard times show you what you love, what you really want to chase, because when you're in hard times, that's all you want to do is chase that one thing. And then the three things you can probably take away is that um, hard times teach you who you are, how you respond to things, and how you want to respond to things. And hard times break down that mask that you might have been building up that's kind of over who you really are. And sometimes you find someone pretty bad under that mask. and it's someone you want to change and you want to conflict with and you want to talk to, and having those conversations and speaking to that person and saying, no, I don't want to do it this way is like the most important thing you can do. And then three, I'd say, um, it teaches you what you love. Teaches you really, really what you want in life, because what you really think about during those hard times is exactly what you want, and what you what you learn is what you want. God sends you lessons for a purpose, for you to get back into what you love, and for you to get back to what's true to you. Um, but I think that's it. Being better is the first step, and it's the most important one. Wanting to, anyways. All right. See ya.